I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Oh, we see the white tarp on the field as it has been. It's amazing. We come down to Phoenix, where it's like 120 degrees every day in the summertime. And in years past, I think this is our 5th year of doing spring training down here. You come down here and it's golf shirts and shorts the whole time. It's mid-70s. We've even had a couple 80-degree days. With the exception of our first day here where it was sunny, it has been very Sacramentish as of late. Rainy, cloudy. It's chilly outside right now.
Well, someone tweeted at us before we left and said, hey, bring some rain. You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Phoenix. Thank you.
Yep.
We're down here at Mesa, Arizona, covering a spring training for all of you, courtesy of Jiffy Lube Multi-Care. Same great services, but now with brakes, tune-ups, and tires at select locations. Visit jiffylubeka.com for valuable coupons and a location near you. Jiffy Lube also sponsoring our text line at 441140 and our video cast. They just take care of us all the time. Videocast at KHTK.com, engineered by, of course, Joe the Engineer, bringing everything back to you. And if you're watching there, you can see people out on the field right now on the tarp. Looks like they're rolling it out even more. I can't imagine they're removing the tarp, even though it hasn't been raining for a bit. They might just be stretching it out a bit. I believe there's a game scheduled for today. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a game here. So that in itself.
I'm no weather expert, but yikes.
I mean, I know it's different in spring training, but I would imagine, it hasn't been wet so far this morning. It's just very, very cloudy and cool that they would still have a game out here should the weather stay the same, but it will be a little bit muddy. Either way, we'll be here all the way up till 9 a.m. We fly back, and then we'll be back on tomorrow. Normal time from the KHTK studios at 6 a.m. Lou Trevino, Sean Murphy, Robbie Grossman, and Matt Williams, all scheduled to be on the program. Kyle, there was some resolution yesterday with the Russell Westbrook altercation you all have heard about that happened the other day. Russell Westbrook and a fan in Utah got into it, and you saw a tape of Westbrook saying some things that were a little bit profane, including I will quote F you up and your wife, and that caught fire. Then social media got a hold of who the gentleman was, who the fan was, let me correct that, who was getting into it with Russell and claimed that he said nothing profane and his wife never said anything, and started to look at his social media, which had some pretty rough things on it, pretty racially toned things on it, but you still had kind of a he said situation because there was no tape of the fan. Well, the Utah Jazz announced yesterday that the fan has been banned for life. The NBA announced that Russell Westbrook has been fined $25,000. The fan in question, Shane Keisel, has said that he put a statement out on his Twitter feed and then said he is going to be in contact with his attorney. I think the argument here is, how do you prove that Keisel, regardless of his social media and what he said on the social media, how do you prove that he said anything to Russell Westbrook and deny him the opportunity to see the Utah Jazz in person for the rest of his life? I'm sure he will argue if this thing went to court, to deny his children the opportunity to take them, et cetera, et cetera. But that's where social media gets you, because I don't think they necessarily I don't think they need to have that. I think they can look at his feed on Twitter, for example, and see a lot of the things that he put out that are extremely racist, and just simply say, this is not the type of speech we condone, whether it's in the arena or outside the arena, and we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone, and we're refusing service to you. I also saw today, and I showed you tape, video in Utah. I'm not clear whether or not that was that particular game or not, although I'll assume it was, were Utah fans, and I don't believe the fan in question was involved. Utah fans yelling down to Russell Westbrook. That's perfectly normal. You yell down and talk crap to players warming up all the time. What is not okay is the fans repeatedly using the term boy to talk to Russell Westbrook and yelling that at him, of which you heard them yell boy once at him, and he did not react the second time. He looked up at them, and you couldn't see what he said, but facial expression kind of showed me, and disagree with me if you do, that he was saying, guys, listen, you're crossing the line.
Yeah,
come on.
It's almost, I think, exactly what he said. He's like, don't go there.
Right, right. And then they continued, and then he brought a security guard over, put his arm around the security guard's shoulder, kind of pointed out the guys, and then the security guard kind of took over and the tape stopped. It's not a good look for Jazz fans. And I don't want to paint Jazz fans either. I'm sure let's be very clear, the predominant amount of people that attend, whether it's a Utah Jazz game or any other game in the NBA, I'm sure are good people, good fans, stay in their seats, cheer when they're supposed to, boo when they're supposed to. I don't want to paint any fan base because of the acts of a few. But that is something where I think, Kyle, in my opinion, if you want to, you can't make a free throw. You're a ball hog.
Right.
Are you mad that he stole your rebound? That is all 100% fair game.
And that's what stood out to me the most in that video is Westbrook's doing his pregame dancing and stuff, and they're yelling at him and they're talking all their crap, and he's not reacting.
Right. At all.
And as soon as boy came out of the guy's mouth, his head snapped up.
Absolutely, and it should have.
Because that, like he said, that's a line that got crossed, and you understand why.
You completely. Well, you know what, and I know what you meant, but to your point and my point, I do and I don't understand why, because I've never been through it. I know that's what you meant, and you and I think are self-aware enough to say we can understand how horrific that is to a point, but yet that's something that's never happened to us. So I can't even imagine what he felt, and I understand that there are a lot of when things like this happen, it gets very sad to me, because everybody kind of digs in, and there are different sides, and some of the sides are very, very ugly in this situation. I would have preferred that Russell Westbrook didn't go profane on the fan. I would have preferred that Russell Westbrook pointed out the fan to security, and the fan was removed and banned for life. And then after, in the press conference, Russ explained himself. And I would prefer that Russell Westbrook didn't say basically what amounts to threatening him, which I really don't have a problem with, but also threatening his wife, because I think that colors the importance of the fact that I also understand why Russell Westbrook wasn't calm, cool, collected. And I also think that that was probably the tip of a very unfortunate iceberg for him. So I understand the reaction. And I think the NBA needs to do a better job at the fan that says, I pay my money, it gives me the right to say and do what I want as long as it's not illegal, to me is akin to the person that drives 55 in the fast lane on the freeway and says, I pay my taxes, I can do what I want. It's just it's a tone-deaf, obtuse way of thinking things. You don't have the right to personally insult people. If you want to say somebody's hair is stupid, if you want to say that Rook Lopez has the sideshow Bob haircut, stuff like that, I think is fine.
Yeah, you can say what you want and not go to jail for it, but that doesn't mean that people aren't going to react to it.
Sure.
Like, you can't say whatever was said to Russell Westbrook that made him react that way and just go, well, I can say whatever I want. Like, yeah, you can, but you're not free from a reaction.
It's like freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequence.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that should even be a thing. Now, you get 18,000 people in a room, and you add in some alcohol, and odds are people are going to get stupid. But that's not an excuse. You need to have repercussions from that. I saw somebody on my feed say that the NBA is getting soft. And the example he cited is, he said he was sitting behind the Clippers bench a few weeks ago, and he said, all I said was F the Clippers, and obviously he elongated the F. We all know what that means. All I said was F the Clippers, and they threatened to throw me out. And honestly, to me, he's lucky he was threatened with ejection. That should be an ejection. I'm not 80 years old, and I'm not the guy that wanted to ban dancing in the movie Footloose, but I'm also very aware that, hey, listen, I like to take my kids to games. What I don't like to do is take my kids to games and have some loudmouth behind me who's 8 beers deep, dropping swear words. Now, if swear words are the worst thing my kids hear, okay.
So you think a guy should be ejected for one swear word?
I would say, here's what I would say, in all truth. I would say that if a guy says F the Clippers, I would come over, and it sounds like that's what the Kings did. If I was security, I would come over and I would say, hey, listen, that's not cool. You can say, Clippers suck. You can say go home. There are lines.
Right.
You don't need to use profanity like that. And if you do it again, you're gone. And if he does it again, he's gone. Yeah, it's not just my kids. Even when my kids aren't there, when I hear, and again, I'm not trying to be a tight ass, but when I hear like F-bombs and MF bombs and a-hole and, not damn or hell. I mean, we're talking the true blue swear words just repeatedly coming out of the crowd. The first thing I do is I scan the crowd around that person within earshot. I'm looking at these little kids eating popcorn and have some self-respect.
Sure.
Like nobody went to none of the people I hate the Lakers more than anything. And Lakers suck and you're terrible and blah blah. I'll absolutely talk garbage with Lakers and at the Lakers or any team I dislike. But none of them have slapped my mother. None of them have taken jobs from me and my family. None of them kicked me out of my house.
Sure.
Like you bought a ticket. Go enjoy the game.
Sure.
These are the same types of people, Kyle, to me, that yell at the refs during their kids' ball games. They're the same types of people that yell at the coaches and the refs. And those are, to me, they're just bad people, or maybe good people at best, that become bad and emboldened by liquid courage.
Sure.
I'd like to see the NBA do a little bit more on that. I'm absolutely okay with that. And hopefully that chapter is closed and everybody learned a lesson from that, though I sincerely doubt it. When we get back, 3 for Madness, Kyle will grade the Niners' acquisition of Dee Ford. I want to ask about NBA versus NFL free agency, and we need to talk about the Houston Rockets basketball club, and there's a big game in the NBA tonight involving them. The Drive is back in a couple, live from Mesa, Arizona on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Europe.
The Drive. Time for 3 for Madness.
The right wing fires up a three. Count it on a foul! Lets the three-point shot fly. Oh, he's done it again!
3 for Madness.
Oh, he's done it again!
Time for 3 for Madness. 3 questions, 3 answers.
3 for Madness, brought to you by Fire Wings. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Just wing it. Colin, I'm going to call an audible here. Because somebody brings up a great point. I said I don't like it when fans are dropping F-bombs on players and on teams, especially because of the presence of kids. And I think some people may, and I get it, think that's a little bit overboard. Somebody brings up a very fair question. If you're going to, he says ban, I'll adjust that. If you're going to punish or warn fans for cursing, then players need to be punished for cursing as well. The double standard is ridiculous. Does that have merit to you?
No.
No. Do you think, well, let me rewind. Do you think fans should feel free to use curse words towards the players?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
As long, if it's FU, then I guess.
Okay. You don't have a problem with it? I'm not judging you. I'm curious. I do.
I no.
I think maybe
I definitely look at I personally would not do that because it's like it's an athlete playing a game. Like it's not that serious,
sure,
man.
Sure.
But if that's, I mean, I don't know.
I think what I would offer is to me the difference is this. The athletes are playing a game, and the athletes are very passionate. They take it seriously. And when an athlete does something wrong or something goes down and an athlete curses on the court, almost 100% of the time, that curse is directed at himself, at another player,
right,
at a teammate, just in general. It misses a free throw.
It's a hazard of going to the – if
right.
you're worried about your child hearing a curse word, then don't sit close enough to the court that you can hear it.
It's a fair point. Now, I think if a player drops a 3 and turns to somebody courtside and says F you, I think that's a different story.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan
right,
of that.
Right.
So I understand. It's a very, very fair question. I wanted to put that out there. Grade the 49ers acquisition of Dee Ford.
I'm going to call it a B+ for now. He's a really good player who didn't produce early on in his career in Kansas City because he was behind Tamba Hali. But he was good in 2016. He got hurt early on in 2017 and then came back with his strongest year in 2018. And they got him for a 2020 second-round pick, which, if things go right, will be in the late 40s.
Why isn't it
early
an A?
50s?
What's preventing you from giving it an A?
I want to see what the contract details flesh out, like how much money they're on the hook for, and because if it is just he was a one-year wonder and he's a 6-sack type of guy, I would like to see when they can get out of that contract. But it straight across, a 2020 second-round pick for Dee Ford is a home run.
3 for Madness. Question number 2.
Is the NBA still the king of free agency, or is the NFL making a strong case?
Yeah, I think the answer to that is yes. I think the NBA is still the king of free agency. I think when free agency hits for the NBA, July 1st, July 5th, whenever they have it this year, there is no period in sports, I think, that is as crazy as NBA free agency. But, man, the last 24, 48 hours have been fun in the NFL. And I also think I'm willing to offer this, too. NBA is my favorite sport. NFL and baseball are right there. Maybe for diehard NFL fans who have those positions reversed who also love, maybe this is better for them. But for me, the NBA is still king there.
The NBA is for me, too, because it is like Kevin Durant's pending free agency has been a story all year.
Yep.
And where he signs will have a dramatic effect. Like, single players don't affect games the way in the NFL the way they do in the NBA.
You're 20% of the players on the floor for your team in the NBA.
Yeah, Kevin Durant signing with the Knicks immediately makes the Knicks a playoff
Correct.
team. They're going to be the worst team in the league
Correct.
this year. So that's where the NBA free agency is more exciting.
I think that's a really, really good point. For example, if Odell Beckham Jr., if you took that talent level, but he was an NBA player, as much as we're excited about the Cleveland Browns next year, you can triple that because, again, you're playing both offense and defense in the NBA,
right.
And when you're on the floor, you are 20% of that team's lineup.
Yeah.
When you're on the field in the NFL, you're 1 of 11.
If Odell Beckham Jr. went to the Arizona Cardinals, nobody's going, the Cardinals are a playoff team.
Right.
But if Kevin Durant goes to the Knicks are a playoff team.
They're a playoff team. Question number 3.
The Rockets started out 11-14 and have since gone 31-11. They host the Warriors tonight, just 3.5 out of the 1 seed. Which team needs this game more?
This is a hell of a game tonight, and it's in Houston. My instinct.
No Kevin Durant.
And
I'm just building in my excuses. Keep going.
I think the correct answer is Houston needs it more. They're 3.5 out, but the Warriors. What did you say? They had won consecutive games since last month or something silly. Again, I'm not falling into the trap. They play possum, they play possum, they play possum, and the next thing you know, they go 16-2 in the playoffs.
Right.
I think Houston needs this game more. But if Houston wins, now they're 2.5 back. And they're the hottest team in basketball, and that kind of helps bolster. We've already given the MVP award to Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
James Harden's making a really, really strong push, and when you step back and look at it, actually he's been this way the entire season. It's just continuing to carry.
They're getting healthy finally.
Right.
The Warriors need this game more. They're 0-3 against the Rockets this year, and the Rockets have not been fully healthy in any of those games. The Warriors should have lost to the Rockets last year, and they would have had Chris Paul not gotten hurt, or had they not gone 0 for 27 from 3 in that game 7.
Yep.
So the Warriors need this game because I think the Rockets, if they go win, they now have a season sweep, and they have the 7-game series last year where they can say, you only won because Chris Paul was hurt. The Warriors need to beat them.
Incidentally, the Houston Rockets have won 9 in a row. They've won 13 of 16. Yep. They are on fire. We will take a break. When we come back, we may be talking to Oakland A's. I'm not sure. I know the schedule is up and down for them, and we'll schedule to appear Lou Trevino, Sean Murphy, Robbie Grossman, and Matt Williams. We'll get back into some football as well. We can also open up the Fire Wings phone lines at 1-800-920-1140. Don't forget, Fire Wings, 21 different flavors to choose from. Fire Wings, just wing it. Live from Mesa, Arizona. We're back in a couple right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
the least professional show in the entire station, and they'd like to apologize for absolutely nothing.
Right.
The Drive continues now.
The Drive continues now, live from Mesa, Arizona. Thanks to Jiffy Lube Multi-Care. Same great services, but now with brakes, tune-ups, and tires at select locations. Visit JiffyLubeCA.com for valuable coupons and a location near you. Kyle Madsen informs me via the Oakland Athletics. Matt Williams will be joining us at 8 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's
Very
absolutely
excited.
correct.
Very excited about that.
Matt Williams, first guy at the facility. Of course he was.
Of course he is.
He's going to come join us at 8 o'clock. And then we're hoping to get some more A's after that.
Yes, we have A's scheduled. I'm not going to lie. I want A's on. I want all of them on.
Yeah.
I want the entire roster to come in the final hour.
Okay.
But if Matt Williams were to be the only interview we had today, I would be
giddy.
I would be content.
You're giddy.
I would absolutely.
You just adjusted in your seat. I see you.
I adjusted in my seat, but not because of that. 1-800-920-1140 is the phone number, 339-1140 on the Firewings hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from, and firewings.com, as you know, just wing it. Kyle, Le'Veon Bell is going to the Jets, 4 years, $52.5 million. A lot of talk about Antonio Brown and what he did and how he handled everything and how he was a big winner in this whole thing. Do you apply the same language to Le'Veon Bell? Is he a winner?
No, because he wound up making less money with the Jets than he would have with the Steelers. But I think
what? Oh, trust me, that's the right move. Go ahead. Just wanted to open the windows here.
Oh no.
Yeah, I would. Let me just say, we had a fun round of barbecue last night, and
that's a nice day out, anyways.
It's a nice day outside, so yeah, I had to open the windows here in the press box.
What if I just flopped?
That was brisket, buddy. Anyways,
yeah, he ended up making less money. He ended up making less money in this deal with the Jets than he would have if he signed a long-term deal with the Steelers.
Sure.
Originally. So, and then he ended up losing a franchise tag last year.
Right.
Making no money.
Getting paid, I saw this year, less than that franchise tag would have been had he accepted it.
Yes.
So
it is just a tough look for him, and I think had he maybe pulled this 2 years ago, then maybe it's different. But he's nearing 30, but 27, and he's taken a year off. It's just it's a really tough look for Le'Veon Bell, who once told TMZ that it would take $100 million for him to play for the Jets. That's really,
so Le'Veon
really
Bell,
tough.
documented liar.
Yeah.
Is what happened there. Does this do anything for you moving the needle for the Jets, real quick? Not really, right?
No. I mean, it's another weapon for Sam Darnold, which I guess is good. But they still need receivers. They still need more playmakers than just Le'Veon Bell.
Knicks owner James Dolan said the fan who confronted him and told him to, quote, sell the team after the Knicks lost to the Kings on Saturday. James Dolan said the fan has been banned from Madison Square Garden. He went on the Michael Kay show on ESPN New York yesterday, and he called the confrontation a, quote, ambush, saying the ban is only coming from the fact that we have now learned that he planned it. They were stalking me. You can't do that in Madison Square Garden. You're not allowed to stalk the owner and then confront him like that. Those particular guys had planned on making that video and selling it on TMZ. The exchange, if you forgot, started when the fan yelled at Dolan to sell the team. Dolan came over and said, so you think I should sell the team? And said, do you not want to come to any more games? And the fan protested by saying he was just stating his opinion. Dolan answered, no, it's not an opinion. And you know what? Enjoy watching them on TV. He then pointed to the fan, nodded towards security, who instructed the fan to be held. Dolan said that he originally had planned on inviting the fan back and letting him meet the team in an effort to show him that the
God.
franchise
Oh,
was
my
headed in a positive
God.
direction. However, that changed when it became clear the whole thing was just planned. Finally, when asked, and I have a lot of respect for Michael Kay, but my guess is that this was not a hardcore interview. When asked if his conduct will affect the team's chances of landing guys like Durant or Irving, Dolan said no. Quote, I can tell from what we've heard, I think we're going to have a very successful offseason when it comes to free agent. And by the way, for the record, I am not selling the team and I am not quitting. James Dolan, everybody. Bill Simmons actually had a really good tweet yesterday because Dolan, I think on that same radio show, had accused Simmons, insinuating that Simmons was throwing out the rumor that he was thinking of selling the team, throwing out that rumor, according to Dolan, because he's very close with the Boston GM and wants to
trying to sabotage the Knicks.
Sabotage the Knicks into attracting free agents. To which Simmons, really a perfect response here, said, if I wanted to sabotage the Knicks in free agency, the last thing I would say is that James Dolan is thinking of leaving the Knicks. That actually might attract players to the Knicks. If I want to sabotage the Knicks from getting free agents, I would say that James Dolan is going to be there forever.
Right.
Really, there's
right.
Todd, what a paranoid weirdo.
And that's that whole. I was actually going to invite him down to meet the
Yeah,
team. I know
right.
you weren't. And did he know in that moment that those guys were stalking him to make a video to sell the team? Hey, do you know how you can really mess with that? Just ignore it.
Just walk by.
Because, hey, a guy yelling sell the team at James Dolan as he walks down the tunnel and James Dolan doesn't even blink is not a thing that even goes on the internet.
If I'm Knicks, this is real. And somebody brought up to me this the other day when I said the Knicks fans really should just band together and really make some moves, stop going to games and start organizing protests and really try to force James Dolan to sell the team. And people brought up a pretty decent point that a good amount of fans that attend Madison Square Garden are tourists, people that buy tickets online just to go see what many consider the greatest, one of the greatest sports arenas in the entire world. I'm not indifferent to that, but that does not make up anywhere near the bulk of people that attend these games.
Right.
Now that we've seen that James Dolan is sensitive to people bringing up the idea that he should sell the team, if I'm Knicks fans, I do a chant every single game in the third quarter, sell the team, sell the team, every single game. Yeah. It's partially their fault. And I feel comfortable blaming fans in this situation, which is a controversial take to some, only because I've seen in our own, different situation. But we here in Sacramento have seen what can happen when fans band together and they organize and they do things.
You've been to New York, dude.
I have been to New York.
Okay.
What?
You've been to Sacramento.
I have. Are you saying it's a different mentality?
I do. I do think that.
Dare I say that New York sports fans may benefit themselves by taking a page out of Sacramento's book. That maybe the little backwards
I don't.
I'm
not saying that whatsoever.
Sure.
I'm saying their version of Carmichael Dave.
Yeah, Queens Rick.
If they go, it's Queens.
Brooklyn
Queens,
Ned.
Yeah. It's Brooklyn Ned. And he says, "Hey, we want Dolan to sell the Knicks. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna boycott the Knicks.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, I'm
Shut
gonna
up.
watch my Knicks.
Right. Well,
that's the mentality, and that's why I just it stinks for Knicks fans, but you just don't really feel sorry for them.
Then you're right. Then I would say to Knicks fans, okay, well, keep being sheep.
Yeah.
Keep spending your hard-earned money.
No, they're gonna back their way into contending with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
I'd like to say it's really annoying to see these large markets like Los Angeles and like New York, as you said, basically get gifted superstars to back their way in through really no they didn't earn it, whereas a team like Sacramento has to earn everything. I'd love to say that if if I didn't have numbers in front of me showing me that the Lakers and Knicks are two of the worst teams in the NBA over the last 10 years percentage-wise. In fact, I think they're both in the bottom 5. And the Lakers got LeBron James this year. Now, I still believe the Lakers they'll be just fine. And I do believe that in his Lakers tenure, LeBron James will, at worst, be in the playoffs. And at
How confident are you in that?
That he will make the playoffs?
Yeah.
I will bet. I mean, I don't even know what the odds are, but if they were even just straight up, it was even just straight up next year that the Lakers would make the playoffs, I would take everything in my little betting account and put it on that.
Interesting. Okay.
Everything.
Okay.
Because I don't think that roster is going to resemble anything like it does this year.
Okay. But considering Kawhi sounds like he doesn't want to play for the Lakers.
Kawhi won't go there. Kevin Durant won't go there.
KD won't go there.
No.
And let's assume I guess there's the Kyrie Irving option is on the table.
Kyrie Irving option. You know,
let's also assume the Anthony Davis trade to the Lakers is not.
It's not.
A
Foregone
done
conclusion.
deal.
It's
Right.
not.
So this roster may look very much the same next year.
You know, and obviously that would change my mind a little bit. I'll tell you what's a really underrated part of this whole free agency. You know, it's all about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
Sure.
Where's Anthony Davis going to? Nobody's talking about Kemba Walker. Nobody's talking about Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is very, very good at basketball, as you millennials like to say on the Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good at basketball and is being wasted.
Is very good a millennial thing?
Yeah, when you say, it's all little millennials that go on Twitter and they say, Paul George is very good at basketball. Or, XYZ football is very good at football. Yeah, that's an age thing.
Oh, okay.
It really is.
Okay.
You don't see
Okay.
Me,
Okay.
You don't see me saying that.
Yeah.
Son, let me tell you, back in my day when we had Twitter, we would say Kemba Walker is a fine player. We don't say very good at basketball, but he is, and he's also a free agent this summer. Nikola Vucevic, that's going to be a very interesting situation, especially
Future King.
I think so. I mean, I think right now, if I was laying out odds, I wouldn't say it's above 50-50, but I would say if I was laying odds,
is he the favorite?
I'd say he's the favorite.
The Kings
yes.
are the favorite.
I would say the Kings are the favorite, or I would look at it from this perspective. If it was players, the Kings are most likely to sign via free agency next year or this summer. I would put Nikola Vucevic as the favorite.
Can't wait.
For?
Oh, just all the complaints.
About Vucevic?
Yes.
Well, if you want to complain about a 27, 28-year-old guy who averages 20 and 12 and who made the All-Star team last year.
He's Euros.
Yeah, he can't run the floor. He's too slow and lumbering. He's an unathletic Euro. We're going to have a conversation one day about unathletic Euro and that whole undertone right there. Like Luka Doncic, unathletic Euro. Okay. Yeah, how's that working out? Although he had a really crappy week last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the worst week.
Hitting the rookie wall.
I think that's exactly what it is. I think, and people don't get triggered. This isn't about Bagley. Just simply.
This has nothing to do with the Kings anymore.
The front runner for Rookie of the Year is Luka Doncic. He is he is the presumptive winner of the Rookie of the Year. What? Are we?
First, no Vucevic. No. All caps. What?
I would ask that person. I would say, okay, listen. No Vucevic. So text her from the 916. Who? What's your option? Give me your most realistic option that you think would be a better fit for the Kings than Nikola Vucevic. I'm all ears on that. Same guy says I'd rather get Patrick Beverley, Brooke Lopez, re-sign Harrison Barnes, and offer Buddy a max extension. They don't need to max. Okay, first off, you're not maxing Buddy Hield this summer. What is wrong with you, dude? Okay, number one, you're not maxing Buddy Hield this summer, and I love Buddy Buckets. Not a max player right now. That's number one. I do believe they will re-sign and extend Harrison Barnes, or at least that's what the Kings will want to do, and I don't see Harrison Barnes being against that. I expect that to be a move this summer. If you're saying you'd rather have Brooke Lopez than Nikola Vucevic, I would stop drinking immediately. It's only 7:45 in the morning. Seriously, you have to go to work. Odds are,
like Brooke Lopez is a fine player.
He's a fine player indeed. Brooke Lopez is good at basketball.
Oh, okay, Mr. Millennial.
Okay, but he is
Millennial Dave.
not Vucevic. And I've said this before. I think their second big target this summer is going to be a true backup point guard. As much as I love Yogi Ferrell and Frank Mason, I don't anticipate them being back.
Vucevic does everything better than Brook Lopez.
Yeah, it's not close.
He's it's 20.7 to 12.4 points, 4 assists to 1.1, 12 boards to 4.6.
Only triple the boards. Okay.
Vucevic is shooting 38% from 3 to 36.6 for Lopez.
What's
52% from the floor to 45% for Lopez.
Hey, you know what? Just for fun, give me steals and blocks and turnovers.
Steals, 1 for Vucevic, 0.6 for Lopez.
Okay.
Blocks, 2.2 for Lopez.
Okay, there you go.
1.2 for Vucevic. And what'd you say? Steals, blocks?
Turnovers.
Turnovers, it's 2 for Vucevic, 1 for Lopez, but I'm guessing that's because Vucevic's usage rate
That's true.
is 27.8 to 16.8 for Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know.
I think their second biggest target is going to be backup point guard, and I would love to see them get Patrick Beverley. I would love that move. I think that would add a little bit of swagger, a little bit of attitude, and a lot of bit of defense to that. I think he would be a
Patrick Beverley's a really good player.
You go out there with the blur that is De'Aaron Fox, and then in situations you put Patrick Beverley in to lock down whoever and to bark a little bit. And this team, Harry Giles has some dog in him. Patrick Beverley has a lot of dog in him, and I have no issues with that. From the 530. So Buddy is no space, capital W, nowhere near max player status, but you're not allowed to take them out in the fourth quarter at the end of the game. Constant double standard. This shows the worst. Can you translate?
Yeah, so I think what that person is saying is that
I got the show as worst part.
Yeah, no, that's just accurate. But I think they're saying because when we talked about when Dave Yeager took Buddy Hield out at the end of a game, what game was that?
Was that the Warriors?
Where Hield didn't play like the final 6 minutes.
Yeah. It was the game after the Warriors, or 2 games after the Warriors game.
So, and we came on and said, like, dude, that's your best scorer.
Yeah.
Like, he has to be on the floor.
Sure.
Both things, and then he's saying if that's the case, then he's a max player. No, both things can be true here. Buddy Hield can need to be on the floor in the final 5 minutes, but he's not a max player. Andre Iguodala needs to be on the floor for the final 5 minutes for the Warriors. He's not a max player.
And by the way, Buddy Hield might be a max player someday. I don't know. Maybe he will be. If Buddy Hield, let me put it this way: if Buddy Hield takes the same leap next year that he did this year, he'll be a top 3, if not top 2, shooting guard in the league.
Yes.
And that's a max player.
Correct.
Buddy Hield's not a max player now. That's
no. He'll get paid for sure.
Sure, he'll get paid.
You can't use a max slot on Buddy Hield.
Especially when you have this window, and the Kings, as of right now, are only $67 million in the books. Plus, Buddy Hield is signed next year at $4.8 million, and then the year after that gets a qualifying offer at $6.4. Why would you max out? This is our point. You don't need to. Hey, let's max it out. You make $4.8 million.
Why not?
Let's jump that up to $25 million now, just for fun. My goodness gracious. But yeah, I think Vucevic will be their top target. I would like to see Patrick Beverley be their secondary target. They do have some money to spend. They might even have a little bit more money to spend if they're able to drop Harrison Barnes' yearly salary down, maybe by a couple, $3-4 million in exchange for stretching him out. Let's go back to the text line here. I just want to read this up. Patrick Beverley would be great. Yep, absolutely. And the same guy says, in order for me to get some run on the show, I have to blurt out horrible fire takes like Buddy Hield max contract. I got your take with the Patrick Beverley thing. Come on now, don't be so needy. Could Harry Giles play the center long term? I don't think so. I think whereas Marvin Bagley can play the 4 pretty. I think Bagley and Giles are almost both 4.5s. They can absolutely play 4. They can spot at 5. but I don't know that either of them is an ideal 4 or an ideal 5. I think they're more ideal 4s than 5s, and I would like to see Bagley and Giles. I'd love to see Bagley and Giles. Let's assume Bagley comes back healthy here in the next couple games, and let's also assume the Kings are out of the playoff hunt with a handful of games left. I would not mind seeing Bagley and Giles, if not start together, both get 30-plus minutes together on the floor. I want to see what that looks like long term.
I want down the stretch. Maybe here, I'm even going to frame it like this: the Kings clinch a playoff spot with 4 games to go, and they're just they're playing with like, hey, we have 4 games, we have to play these games, but we're clinched, we're in our spot.
Sure.
I would love to see maximum amount of minutes with the De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Harry Giles,
1 minute.
Yes.
Marvin Bagley lineup.
I agree.
I want those guys on the floor together as much as humanly possible.
From the 916, what if Willie only wants $65 million? If he wants that over 6 years, then I would say re-sign him. If he's looking for a 6-year, $65 million contract, I'm fine with that. I don't think that will be. In my opinion, and we've been consistent about this since before the season started, this is Willie's last year in Sacramento, and I believe Willie's agent is basically, come this summer, going to say, we are going to the highest bidder. So have your bids in, and I just don't think I think the Kings will throw out a qualifying offer at him, and they'll have the opportunity to match, and someone's going to throw something at him. No. Remember, and I think Willie is a far better player than Timofey Mozgov. And I understand that Mozgov was kind of an exception, not the rule.
Break.
But let's just remember the contract Mozgov got. There's going to be
Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson is actually a pretty decent comparison, although I think Thompson at the time was a better player than Willie Cauley's time, but that's more of a better comparison. Yeah, I think somebody's going to give him that money. We'll take a break. When we come back, hey, Matt Williams is going to be on the program. That's what I hear. I'm very, very excited. This final hour filled with Oakland A's and their third base coach, Matt Williams, right here on The Drive, back in Mesa, Arizona, Sports 1140 KHTK.